What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today we're talking about the Spring Cup. Spring Cup's been in for the last 6 or 7 days or so. It's in for another 7 days alongside the Master League, which means if you haven't been playing it this week because you don't mind the Ultra League, there's a good chance to be playing it this week because you don't like the Master League. Obviously, the Master League being the most inaccessible, I would say, of the Cups. I've got a few things I want to show off in the Master League this time around and try out, so I'll be making some Master League content in this next week, so I thought I'll talk about the Spring Cup now and one particular team that I've had, I want to say, good success with. So I'm going to show you guys 3 sets, and one of them's a 4-1 winning set, which, you know, sounds great, sure. One of them's a 0-5 loss, so we lose 5 games in a row, which sounds awful. And then we win 5 games in a row. Again, we have a 5-0 winning set. So all or nothing, I guess, with this team. But also, I do have a previous set recorded using this team in this cup, and we win 5-0 as well. So overall, out of 20 games, we won, what, 14 matches? So that's a very solid win rate, really, for the team. But I'm not going to show that first set because 4 of the leads are the same in that first winning set of 5 matches. It's from Polion leads, Roserades in the back. I think someone, I'm not sure, I haven't been paying too much attention to the space recently, but I think someone must have popularised a team with Empoleon on lead and Roserade in the back, because I just kept running into that team and we just kept beating it. And I don't think it's interesting to just show you guys 4 matches of essentially nearly the same thing playing out over and over again. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into these battles that we've got. So this is a 4-1 set, like I said, then a 0-5, just to show you guys that it goes to pot as well. At times it goes badly, and then a 5-0 win set. So Shadow Bomber Snow in the lead, not too bad for our Jellicent. We do have to worry about the Energy Ball because this is a Shadow Bomber Snow, so that Energy Ball is really going to hit hard. But also we're resisting the Powder Snows, and we have to stay in here because we've got Tropius in the back. Now, not everyone has access to Tropius. There's been a lot of opportunity over the last couple of years to get a hold of one, even if you're not living in the regions where they spawn. Like, I don't live in a region where Tropius spawns, but we have had access to them from the Hoenn Tour, and then I believe there's been at least one. There's been one event, I think, where they've been spawning here. I'm not 100%. I forget, to be honest. But if you don't have access to Tropius, you don't have one. Let's say you've been playing newer, you can use Jumpluff. Would be my recommendation as an alternative, as a grass flyer. Also has access to acrobatics as a legacy if you got one from the community day, or you want to use an elite charge TM. It's a solid Pokemon, Jumpluff, fantastic bulk, but we're running Tropius personally with Air Slash, Aerial Ace, and then Leaf Blade. Fantastic move combination, really, since Aerial Ace did get that little bit of a buff. And then in the back we're running Araquanid, and Araquanid was something I really wanted to try out again in this cup. I haven't had much excuse to use it in a long time. Like when they first released Jupiter, I made a couple of videos running it because I was really impressed with its stats, and it just had good play in the current Great League meta at that time. But it's seen less and less use in the last since the rise of Noctowl last year, really, or over a year ago now. It's not seen much use in the Great League, so it's nice to get another excuse to use it again. We're going to take the win in that first game. Now, Araquanid did get access to Water Pulse this season, and they did buff Water Pulse because Water Pulse was frankly an absolutely awful charge move. Like, it's just super energy inefficient, and when there's that many good water charge moves, anything from like Hydro Cannon to Surf, and even Scold now, like it just doesn't compare even with the buff. And Araquanid doesn't need it, I don't think. I still think you're better off running Bubble Beam and Bug Buzz, which is the classic moveset for an Araquanid in the Great League. It does have access to Mirror Coat, and there's some argument to make for running it because there are poison types present. You know, there are Tentacruels and there are Roserades hanging out in this cup, in this meta, but also it's not going to one-shot them. It's not going to threaten them. Like, technically, Tentacruel walls Araquanid if you're running Bubble Beam and Bug Buzz, but that Bug Bite is adding up, that rapid fast move ticking over, like a bug version of Dragon Breath, but just, I mean, not as powerful, obviously. But you can still put in a decent amount of work in that matchup. You can get them fairly low to then farm them down with something else on the team, and there aren't that many Tentacruels around, and I think Bug Buzz comes in handy for like nuking Pokemon in this meta, like if there's grass types or even like in neutral matchups, Bug Buzz can hit pretty hard. Whereas Mirror Coat, you're not going to use it unless you're against a poison type because it's so energy inefficient. It's certainly not the best charge move at all. It's not stab. So I think you're better off with Bubble Beam for debuffing opponents. It's very handy to be able to do that and dip in some situations and in good in endgame situations, just for debuffing how hard things can hit. And you see how hard the Bug Buzz hits there, and that poor Roserade getting absolutely ruined. So stick with Bug Buzz, stick with Bubble Beam, don't bother with Water Pulse because even the non-water and grass types in this meta are still, well actually no, because, no yeah, I was thinking of flyers, but the flyers in this cup are all either water or grass as well, so pretty much everything you're going to run into that's not a fairy is going to be resisting water damage, so it doesn't have as much play as you want it to have in this meta. Sometimes it's got neutral damage output, which is great, but it's not going to serve you as well as like just debuffing your opponents and getting more bug bite damage in, where there's going to be a lot more matchups where that's at least neutral, if not super effective for you. So this matchup, Tropius, we're just going to try and get to one more Shadow Ball. We're just going to make it absolute clutch. Having a nice bulky Jellicent here does help for that. Going to get another shield out of this opponent and bring in our Tropius to farm down, because we can take these area lasers all day long. I said all day long, we can survive two, so we could just air slash them down before they got to a third one, just come out with a bunch of energy. They're going to swap out aggressively into Dewgong. And another brilliant thing about Araquanid, which, like I said, Araquanid was really what this video was. My intention was to run Araquanid on a team, and I tried a different team that went terribly around Araquanid, and then settled on this one, and it's gone pretty well. But Araquanid resists everything from Dewgong. Icy Wind, Water Pulse, Drill Run, whatever else it can have, I forget what other movesets Dewgong can have, if any, but Araquanid resists them all, and we're just going to Bug Bite down. We're going to be debuffed into the ground, which is pretty rough for us. Poliwrath swaps in aggressively, we're going to Bubble Beam and dip, and we're going to make a mistake. If I remember this matchup correctly, I believe this is the, we're in a decent position to win this game, and I don't know why we do this, but we're going to shoot the Icy Wind. That's fine. You know, that's good. It's a good thing to do. And we throw Aerial Ace. Why do we throw Aerial Ace? Like, Leaf Blade is also super effective. It's a more energy efficient charge move. It's better than Aerial Ace, like through and through. And would have been closer to another charge move. So the Poliwrath would have been slightly lower on health here, which would have allowed us to properly farm them down without taking this charge move here, right? Which is just Power Up Punch, but these little the counters add up, and we're getting lower, we're getting lower, we're getting lower, and the opponent there makes an amazing catch. They bring in the Tropius and then quickly swap to Dewgong because they know that we can just farm the Dewgong down. We know the Dewgong's energy dry, and they catch the Bug Buzz onto Dewgong, which doesn't give us enough energy to get to another Bug Buzz, and then Tropius is going to have to take us out here, and we're going to take an L. So a bit of a misplay on us, a good play from the opponent being able to catch that move, and it combined into us actually losing that game, which is a bit of a shame. All right, jumping into the next one, Cloudachino, Jellicent on the lead, and we got a Slurpuff. And this, I believe this is the only Slurpuff I run into with the running this line. A Slurpuff's interesting. Fairy Wind, I think it has Thunder and Flamethrower. It might have Energy Ball as well. I think it might have Energy Ball. I believe it throws that here, yeah. So very versatile moveset on a Fairy. Obviously means it doesn't have to share a lot of the weaknesses that are going around in this cup, because a lot of things are depending on flying damage to deal with, like the grasses and the bugs and stuff. So Slurpuff, interesting Pokemon in this meta for sure. They bring in Ferrothorn and we swap in our Araquanid. This is a misplay. Tropius is your best answer to Ferrothorn. Through and through. Doesn't matter what moveset they've got. No matter if they've got Mirror Shot, Flash Cannon, Thunder. I mean, if they're running Thunder, this is actually worse for you as Araquanid. So definitely want to bring in Tropius into Ferrothorn, because those air slashes add up quite nice neutral damage. The aerial lasers come in at a decentish pace to chip away, and you can survive 2 Flash Cannons from a Ferrothorn if they're not a particularly attack-weighted IV spread, and you're not a particularly attack-weighted IV spread. You know, you got like decent bulk. You can take 2 Flash Cannons and they can't farm you down. They have to get to 3 charge moves. So it's definitely the ball's in your court in that situation. Of course, we bring in Araquanid by accident. I believe it's actually just a mispress in the moment, a misplay. We're just going to have to let Araquanid go, bring in Tropius and farm down entirely and come out with a ton of energy. Nearly 3 Leaf Blades here. And Polygon's going to come in, because they know that they don't want to see the energy going anywhere else. We're going to swap out aggressively into Jellicent, the Slurpuff's there. We're going to shield up, Hex down. And we've still got 2 Leaf Blades on on Tropius as well. So we're just going to go for the Shadow Ball. They have to shield this because Empoleon's pretty squishy. This will do big damage. Get a shield out of him, and now we'll go for another one. We're not here to mess about, we're not here to bait. This might just take him out, be just shy of taking him out. Yeah, it does take him out. And even if they'd have got to, well, they needed 2 Drill Pecks there to finish off our Jellicent, and if they did do that, they wouldn't have had energy to deal with the Tropius till they got to 2 Leaf Blades, taking them out anyway. So very easy. I said easy GGs, that's disrespectful. Very straightforward GG. We're in a very strong position at that point. This game, swap out into Dewgong, bring in Araquanid. Araquanid's a very solid, hard answer to Dewgong. They don't shield up the first Bug Buzz. I think they're just expecting us to try and debuff them. Fantastic. Puts in an even stronger position because you see those Icy Winds, they're not doing anything. The Ice Shards, Icy Winds, they're not adding up. Drill Run is the same, it is resisted. So you see there, might as well just be throwing the Icy Winds to debuff us. And we're just going to go chip. We're going to throw this Bug Buzz just before they get to another move, just to get them out of there so we're not as low. We've still got a decent amount of health, decent amount of energy. The Ferrothorn has to throw to get rid of us if it wants to. So we're just going to debuff them. Debuff them, and then whenever we do get taken out, we're just going to bring in the Tropius. Well, there's an argument to be made because they actually swapped out of this on the lead, didn't they? Did they swap out of this? I can't remember what we saw on the lead in this game, but we're just going to keep debuffing them, chipping away. You see, we still managed to do 50% even throwing the Bubble Beams at them, and we were debuffed by that Dewgong, so decent spot to be in. Pelipper's in the back. This is nice for Jellicent because we can survive. Since there's 2 shields left on the field, if they bait us twice with Weather Ball and then land a Hurricane, that and all the wing attacks will get us very low. But they don't. They just go straight for the Hurricane, go straight for the. They know that like they might be anticipating that I might be anticipating a bait and stuff like that, so they just go straight for it. I've done it before, just been like Hail Mary, go for the big move, and we shield up, which puts us in a huge advantageous position. We're just going for Surfs because the damage is going to add up. Pelipper's squishy, the shields are there, they've got to use them if they want us out of the way, and they're not going to be able to take us out. So they land a Hurricane, swap back to Ferrothorn. This is no stress for us, even though they landed the Flash Cannon, which, again, ideally we would shield, but it doesn't matter. Go for the Aerialist. This won't quite take them out, but it'll get them low enough. And if they do throw here, I believe we just shield up, even if it is. Because if it's a Power Whip, which it is, they still won't make it to a Flash Cannon before they get farmed down. So it's a very risk-free shield, really, because we weren't at risk of getting hit with anything harder. And we take out the Pelipper, and it's going to be a good game. So, 4-1 set, and the match that we lost, I would say, was definitely due to me having some kind of brain fart and throwing a Aerial Ace instead of Leaf Blade at Poliwrath, so make what you will of that. So, Ferrothorn lead, pretty bad for us. We swap into Araquanid. A lot of times, you can use either Tropius or Araquanid as a safe swap. I personally prefer Araquanid in a lot of situations because you swap in Araquanid, sometimes stuff like Tentacruel comes in, which Tropius definitely doesn't want to see anyway. So you often bait out those poison types, and then you get them weak enough, low enough where you can farm them down and then potentially start flipping those situations around. So we pull out this Golisopod, and this is tempting to shield, but we're not going to, we let it go. We're just going to bring in the Jellicent to get plenty of energy because those Shadow Claws are adding up, but the charge moves are not going to add up on us here, particularly like X's are not really doing very much. If they throw Aerial Ace, that's going to do a bit more damage, but not a ton more. So let's let this go because, again, we're matched up against a Ferrothorn. So the health, we might as well just build up that energy. Swap out to Tropius because we want to get energy on there as well. And there's a Tentacruel in the back. So pretty tough position for us here. If the opponent had brought Tentacruel into the Araquanid, which a lot of the time that's what you'll see because Tentacruel is, like I said, it's a wall to Araquanid. If they'd have brought the Tentacruel in, then we would have been able to deal with the Tentacruel, and then Tropius would have been in a much better position to deal with that Golisopod, and then put some work in on the Ferrothorn, and we might have been able to flip this game around because they made the right call and brought in Golisopod, which isn't as strong of a matchup with Araquanid. as Tentacruel is, but still they managed to take Switch in that position, then it went in their favour, and they're going to win this game. We've still got 2 shields. A couple of points where we probably should have shielded where we didn't as well in this game, but honestly we were really on the back foot, and we really needed them to make a mistake against that lineup to be able to flip it around and take the win. So, Lantern lead, these do happen, they are out there, you've got to stay in. I know it sounds awful, but you've got a water on the lead and we've got a water in the back. What can you do? We've got to stop in. They get to Thunderbolts one turn slower than you get to Shadow Ball. So, we get to throw a Shadow Ball first, does a nice big chunk of damage, we're going to shield, right? Thunderbolt, it's not too bad. And that means you'll get to the Shadow Ball before they get to another Thunderbolt, so you get to decide that they better give that shield back, or we take them out, which they give us that shield back, that's fine. And at this point, now, they have to throw before we get to that Surf, because that'll get them pretty low, and they don't want to have to take that damage if they don't want to, so they throw the Surf to finish us off. We just bring in Tropius. This isn't a wall for Lantern by any measure, compared to other grass types, like the Thunderbolt there. You see there's a decent chunk of damage, but it's not super threatening either. I'm just going to build up excess energy and just hope that Araquanid can put in a lot of work once it's past a Lantern. And I've had a few games with this team where that works out. I've won against Lantern leads with this team. Like, it seems like it should be an instant loss, like Electric's a core breaker, you know, if you've got water on the lead and in the back. But we have won before against Lantern leads. So you just stop them with Jellicent. That's how I recommend you play it out. You shield up the first move, if assuming they build up to Thunderbolt, of course, but you shield up the first move, throw 2 Shadow Balls, see what they decide to do with that. Well, they go in the back. Roserade. So, not the worst backline for us, but we are down a shield. Roserade has access to Leaf Storm. Some of them are running Grass Knot instead, so they don't have to debuff themselves. But some of them are... Did they just no-shield a Bubble Beam? Did I build up to the... Nah, that might be my bad. I might have thrown a little early, so they didn't have to shield, they didn't have to worry about it, which is unfortunate. That's what it's going to take us out, I believe, and we're going to lose this match as well. Like I said, this team's very... I think it's a good team, but sometimes you do just have a set where you just lose every game. Like, it's not really to do with whether the team's good or bad. Sometimes maybe I was having a bad set, maybe I was having a bad time during these 5 matches. Sometimes you run into multiple Lantern leads as well. Like I said, I've won against Lantern leads. Doesn't mean it's not a bad situation for you. The only thing that you're hoping for is that Araquanid has a nice big advantage in the back once you're past that Lantern, because there's a good chance they have an answer to Tropius as well, because they'll have an answer to a grass type, because anything like a Venusaur, a Meganium, a Roserade, it all walls Lantern. So they have to have something that would punish those grass types in the back. So all your chips are really on Araquanid in these games, and it just depends what they've got back there and whether you can get past it. So I'm going to try and bait us with Surf, which means we're going to get this Surf off ourselves, get this Lantern nice and low, a little bit easier for our Tropius to farm them down. So we actually get 2 shields out of this Lantern, which feels like the dream situation. We bring in Tropius, they immediately swap into Mawile, which is very spicy in this cup. We've seen very few Mawiles, but they are out there. They got Fire Fang. I'm just glad it's not running Thunder Fang, because if it had been running Thunder Fang, I suppose we could have stopped him with Tropius, but Fire Fang's going to be neutral against Araquanid. We're not throwing the Bug Buzz because both Fairy and Steel resist bug damage. So this thing's double resisting the Bug Bite, it's double resisting the Bug Buzz, so we just throw the Bubble Beam because it's better damage, and it's debuffing them, so it buys us more time. Again, for those Bug Bites to be adding up, it might be doing 1 damage at a time, but that 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, it adds up, burns through them. They swap out into Lantern to clear all those debuffs, which, again, kind of scary, but that means at this point we just need to build up extra energy. We don't want to risk taking another Thunderbolt, so we're going to throw a little early here, and we are going to take a couple of Fire Fangs, get into 1 more Leaf Blade to take out the Mawile, and then it just depends what's in the back. This should just be a power-up punch from the energy that they had, I believe. Yeah, just power-up punch. That's fine. Actually means that they get less Fire Fangs through, so that might actually be better for us, because I think a Fire Fang might hit harder than a power-up punch from a Shadow Mawile in that situation. But there's the Tentacruel in the back, so really nothing we can do. Like, we needed the Jellicent on the Tentacruel, we needed Jellicent on the Tentacruel and on the Mawile. We needed to get the Jellicent to the back line, which would have meant swapping in Araquanid to Lantern, which is suicide, or it would have meant swapping in our only counter like Tropius, so then we just get, you know, not much you can do in that situation. Another unusual lead in Gastrodon? Yeah. Seems to be the... I mean, Mud Slap got buffed, didn't it, last season? Yeah, it got its energy increased, which was why Rhyperior got better in the Master League. So, Gastrodon, I don't really know what to make of this matchup, so we're just going to stop in. We land a Shadow Ball, very nice for us, and we try to catch an Earth Power on Araquanid. This backfires a little bit, if I remember rightly, because they still throw the Body Slam, yet they don't throw an Earth Power. We're hoping to catch an Earth Power because it's resisted, you know, but they end up bringing out Tentacruel. So in one sense, we're like, oh, well, actually, at least we've managed to pull the Tentacruel out of the back so that Tropius can get around it. So maybe Tropius has a better matchup in the back, but also we are talking about, again, Water Ground on the lead, which means there's a good chance they have two answers to grass in the back, because Gastrodon, much like Lantern, does not want to see grass types. But some people don't run teams like that, like we're running double weak to electric on our team, so maybe they're running double weak to grass. Who knows? We shall see. Tentacruel running Scald here, takes us out, that's fine. They swap in aggressively into Gastrodon. We bring in Tropius. This is a Body Slam. I mean, they could have been an Earth Power then, maybe. I'm not sure what the energy generation, honestly, on the new Mud Bomb is. So I can't say whether that could have been an Earth Power or not, to be honest, to be safe. I'm going to throw Leaf Blades at this Dewgong, so Tropius really has nowhere to go against this backline. It was just the Gastrodon that it would have had a good matchup against, so we just let it go straight away. Everything is going on to Jellicent, going straight for these Shadow Balls. We're not here to mess around. If we get this through, then we can go for Surf. No, we can't go for Surf. Dewgong is very... Get a shield. We're going to have shields. Guys, you're going to have to be patient with me today. It has been a long week. Okay, yeah, this week. So, I mean, like I said, this is the 0 and 5 set, so solidly outplayed again. Lineup just devastatingly punishing to us there. What have we got? I mean, the Gastrodon isn't a hard loss, but we weren't sure enough to swap out. But looking at it, because Jellicent is our worst matchup against Gastrodon on the team, because both Tropius and Araquanid do better, we should have swapped to Araquanid earlier, like very early in that matchup, to then just see what we pull out the back. We probably put the Tentacruel out, preserve more health on the Jellicent before playing out that matchup with Gastrodon, and we might have been in a better position towards the end of the game. Hard to say. This game we had, what was that? Was it Barbacle? Barbacle, the creepy hands guy. We don't. Not a fan. But it does have an interesting moveset. It's got Cross Chop and Bug Bite, and it's... I can see why people would try it in this cup for its moveset, but I think with it being fairy as well as water and grass, I don't think the Cross Chop adds as much versatility as you would want it to add to it. But Galarian Weezing, again, I mean, Jellicent doesn't want to see it because of the Brutal Swing. Tropius doesn't want to see it for risking the overheat, but also do you just bring in the Tropius to tempt them? Because if they swap into a Weezing, are they going to throw overheat straight away, or are they just going to try and bait it with Brutal Swing? You can probably survive one overheat on Tropius because it's that bulky. Now we catch and move on the Barbacle. Is it the Cross Chop? It is. Is it going to save us? Probably not. I mean, told you guys what happens in this set, so you know it's not going to save us. Weezing's back. We're just going to keep chipping away here. Also, Weezing can learn Sludge Bomb. It can learn Play Rough. It's got a hugely versatile move pool for this meta, to be honest. So, pretty rough situation. We shield up a Brutal Swing, afraid of an overheat, and they shield up, which means they're getting that energy built up. Here comes the opposing Tropius, and it's kind of a done deal. Like, there's not really much we can do here, because even though we're doing super effective, they're doing super effective. We catch on Jellicent, and we had a Shadow Ball and a half loaded that we just gave away with that catch. So that was not worth it. If anything, we might have still been able to win this game if we'd have just built up, thrown the second Aerial Ace at this Tropius, and then maybe they misjudged our energy on Jellicent. We just get a Shadow Ball off straight away into the Weezing, or maybe we soft win the matchup. They try and farm us down. We aggressively swap through the charge move, catch them off guard. There's been an opportunity to maybe flip that game around, but we were like, you know what? Who needs a Shadow Ball and a half? Let's just make it a shield, and that was a bad play. Okay, Roserade lead. This isn't as bad a lead as you think it is for Jellicent, because you think Grass type, awful, got to get out of there, you know, it's going to ruin your day, but they run Weather Ball as their main spammy charge move. They're all running Poison Jab as their fast move, which you're resisting as well. And if they're running Leaf Storm, It's awkward for them to throw because it's more energy and it debuffs them massively to throw it. It drops their attack through the floor. They actually try and bait us with the weather ball, even though they're running grass knot, which I would not go for that bait. If I had grass knot on a Roserade, you just go for the grass knot. You don't. It's not worth that bit of energy. It's so punishing. Like there, it was really punishing for them to not get a shield out of me with that first weather ball and not do the damage as well. Like it's absolutely not worth it. If they were running Leaf Storm, I'd have understood for sure. Dewgong comes in, we bring in Araquanid, so we're looking good so far in this game. So how does it go wrong? What could possibly make a mess of this for us? And it's like, well, I'm not sure what I must have done to lose this game so far. I've forgotten this matchup entirely. So we bring the Tropius. So we're looking good so far. We've got shield advantage. We've still got at least half a health bar on all of our Pokemon. We're chasing the alignment. Like, I think we're one charge move out of alignment because we threw and then swapped, I think. So unless they manage to do some clever play here, like, do we shield this? No. We can survive another flash cannon. Save that bit of health. Do we farm them down entirely? We do. We got 2 leaf blades here loaded, or an aerial ace. We throw a leaf blade at Roserade. This will be where it all goes wrong. Does Roserade survive this? Yeah, of course it does. How do we make a mess of this? We bring in Jellicent. We get the Surf off, so the fact that we didn't immediately knock out the Roserade isn't lost on us because we don't really take much punishment on Jellicent for that. Jules said, do we win this game? I thought we lost 5-0. Are we in the next set? Did that set finish? Have I lost my marbles? Let me just check this. Hang on. What was the previous matchup? Yeah, we already lost the 5 sets. They came and went a little faster than I remember. Okay, my bad. Then we are on to the winning sets. That's why I was expecting to lose this game, and I was thinking, what? How did I lose that match? Like, how do I lose this? Like, it's going very, very well. But yeah, now we're into the 5-0 win set. So that's my bad. I am being an absolute melon for that. Right, let me just set us back up on the right battle. Okay, back at it, guys. I swear I'm a professional. I swear I've done this before. And by professional, I mean I get like £1 in ad revenue per video that I upload, you know. Living the YouTuber dream. Right, Dewgong lead. We got fantastic for us again. Dewgong really only has Tropius that it wants to be lined up with on our team because Jellicent they have to go for either debuffs that are resisted or go for draw runs, so they're in a bit of a tough spot either way. And Araquanid, like I said, we resist everything. So Dewgong's nice to see on the lead. They swap out into Trevenant and we're just going to go for a Shadow Ball initially, just to be like, look, give us a shield or just get straight out of there, and then we still have a huge advantage over like switch control. We bring in Tropius, farm them down entirely. Dewgong comes in, we're going to just go for these Leaf Blades. Like, give us the shields, you know? Give us that last shield or get super, super low, because we got 2 loaded here, so we can get them very, very low, which puts them in a very comfortable Bug Bite down range, which I think we're going to go for. Yeah, just bring them in. Venusaur in the back. Love to see it because, well, actually, the Frenzy Plant's going to hit very hard, so we shield the first one. Then we're just going to go for the Bubble Beam before they get any more damage off. We want to lower this bar because they've still got a shield. So if we go for the Bug Buzz and they shield up, it's potentially loses us the game. Landing the Bubble Beam debuff, you see these Bug Bites are just adding up. Like, they're really chipping away, and that means we can comfortably survive a Frenzy Plant from that debuff, throw another Bubble Beam, risk them being even lower down in health, and now there's just nothing that this Dewgong can do. They have to throw very quickly to take us out. We just swap into Jellicent to start getting those hexes through. The opponent surrenders. Going to be a good game. Right, Bomber Snow lead, not Shadow. So the Energy Ball isn't as threatening against a non-Shadow Bomber Snow. You don't have to worry about it as much. We're still going to shield the first one. We don't expect them to bait here. They don't, which is great for us. We can comfortably survive one, but the thing is if you do take that first Energy Ball, they're much more tempted to bait you with Weather Ball, and then it can start dragging out, and they might be risking like farming you down and stuff. So shield up the first one, then we bait them with a Surf. Very fantastic situation. Get that shield back. Now we're not bothered. Oh, we are. Okay, you know what? Yeah, we shield up, and we're just going to hex them down. That's another situation. We had We had an instinctual feeling they were just going to go for another energy ball, and that works out really nicely because all this health on Jellicent, like look, Lantern comes in, and no, we're not going to swap out because we want to keep Araquanid nice and healthy and don't want to give away that we've got something else that's weak to this thing in the back. We're just going to play this out, and even though they've got a shield advantage, we're just going for Shadow Balls. They have to throw or be taken out, so this Lantern is spent. Now we've just got Araquanid and Tropius with whatever they've got plus a shield. Poliwrath in the back. The reason you see me keep bringing in, it's like I brought in Araquanid there into that last bit of health on a Lantern, is just because I want the option of, because we expect them to swap out anyway to whatever's in the back or just immediately get farmed down. We want the option to be able to throw a Bubble Beam and debuff them and then swap out into Tropius, whereas if we bring in Tropius immediately, we'd have to swap into Araquanid to potentially debuff them, and then you're locked in. That gives you potential, depending, to get like farmed down, then come out with energy to like nuke Tropius. I feel you got more versatility, and you're probably going to want to be throwing debuffs on Araquanid. So that's why you'll see me in those situations bringing Araquanid rather than Tropius, but it's not going to save him. Like Lantern gets farmed down, Araquanid got a ton of health there. I think we could possibly have survived the Thunderbolt still from that health, so very comfortable win. Right. Pelipper, what have you got? Another Dewgong. Again, love to see it. Dewgong leads. Fantastic. And I know I said I didn't want to show a previous 5-0 win set I had because a lot of the leads were the same, because they were Empoleons, but I think that was because the backlines on those teams were the same as well. Like, you were basically running into the same lineup. Like, 4 games in a row were all Empoleon leads and like Rose Raids in the back, which, I said, it's not as interesting, whereas a lot of these games, they play out differently. Opponents play these matches in a different kind of way. So this opponent brings in a Ferrothorn, and we're just going to bring in that Tropius. Again, doesn't matter what they've got. This might be a Mirror Shot Ferrothorn, if I remember rightly. Nope, Flash Cannon. It must have been, there might have been some Ferrothorns lurking in that other 5-0 set where I was getting lined up with a lot of them that were just spamming Mirror Shot, Mirror Shot, Mirror Shot, Mirror Shot. And, but again, it doesn't do anything, doesn't add up anywhere near as much as Flash Cannons do, so still a very strong position. We look like a Lag Spike. We don't have the option to do anything there. They just throw a move, even though we wanted to be able to like throw a Leaf Blade or like lock one of those in. But it is what it is. Throw the Aerial Ace at the Rose Raid that comes in, and we're going to bring in Jellicent because we want them to throw a move at us. Like, do it. Throw the Leaf Storm. You swapped out aggressively. Of course they don't. This was their Weather Ball. Another Lag Spike, getting a little bit stressful here because you start seeing these lag spikes and you think, oh, I'm feeling good about this game, or it seems to be going fairly well. Is the lag going to take it away from us? Now, doesn't, as far as I'm aware, from what I remember, but they do get a nice poison jab down on Jellicent. They've got a ton of energy here, so we're just going to not shield. Hope it's not the Leaf Storm. Throw a Weather Ball, that's fine. Not the shield here. Again, they've still got so much energy. They could bait us and throw again. No, we do. We shield it. It's a Leaf Storm. Like my instinct in the moment is better than my instinct when I'm recording these these reactions to my own battles from like a day ago. But goes well. We go the Bug Buzz on Dewgong. And again, we stop in here now. Nope. We swap. Okay, whatever. We should have stopped him with the Araquanid because they throw a Weather Ball, they can't take us out. They throw a Leaf Storm, they can, but they debuff themselves, which makes the Tropius much more safe to then farm down. So misplay by us. Doesn't matter because we still win, but we should have stopped in with Araquanid. Right, this might be the last matchup. Remember, Togepi. We got Empoleon on the lead. Is it an Empoleon with a Roserade in the back potentially? Could it be that team? Again, we shall see. We're just going to let this go. First one, it's just going to be a Drill Peck, and it's not, 2 Drill Pecks start getting us pretty low, even though those Steel Wings are resisted. But one on its own, not too bad. Go for the Shadow Ball, gives a shield. They do. Fantastic, love to see it, because even though it's not a Shadow Empoleon, it just hits so hard. You can see the hexes are adding up, and if hex adds up, Shadow Ball is going to do a huge amount of damage. They swap out, and there's the Jumpluff in the back. Like I said, Jumpluff does very well in place of Tropius if you don't have a Tropius, and honestly, Acrobatics is a very hard hitting charge move. Like Jumpluff is defense weighted, but Acrobatics is a nuke. So I was going to shield that up because we didn't want to take it if we don't have to, and we figure it's worth the shield to keep Tropius that healthy, because Tropius with this much health can do a lot of work even some of its worst matchups. They shield up, this is going to be Acrobatics. You see how hard it hits? Bang, big chunk of damage. Not going to take us out, still lets us farm them down. We got 2 Leaf Blades loaded, fantastic position to be in. Empoleon comes in, go for the Leaf Blade. This won't take them out because we didn't, it won't take them out, but the second one will. which they might have misjudged that we actually built up that much energy against the Jumpluff, because I do believe they had a Drill Peck loaded. At that point, they might have thought they had an extra few seconds to get in a couple more charge moves in. Trevenant in the back, bringing a Araquanid. Doesn't matter that we've not got shields. They can't one-shot you. We've got the bulk. So if they throw a Seed Bomb, wouldn't matter. They still need to land another charge move. We go straight for the Bug Buzz because it will just take them out. Again, we swapped in Araquanid quickly because we were like, debuff that last Pokemon. No matter what it is, we want to be able to at least debuff it. And didn't matter, just go for the Bug Buzz. Take them out, and it's going to be a GG and give us that nice 5-0 set. So, solid team. I do recommend it. Like, Jellicent is nice and strong in this meta. Even like you said, you see it play out against Lantern, and it's not the worst matchup against Lantern. And a lot of the grass types that you're going to run into not operating entirely as grass types. Like you run into like Roserade and it's running Poison Jab as a fast move rather than like a grass move. You run into Tropius, it's running Air Slash. You run into Jumpluff, it's running Fairy Wind. Like there isn't much fast move, grass fast move pressure to really amp up on top for Jellicent. And like I said, like Lantern, you even outpace them to Shadow Ball to do a nice big chunk of damage, and then we even that one matchup we actually managed to get 2 shields out of them rather than just 1, which very nice position to be in. Tropius, very strong, but like I said, Jumpluff will serve you well if you don't have a Tropius. In fact, if I'd have thought about it before I started like playing this team and having this success, I probably would have run Jumpluff instead, just to be able to show a team that's more accessible. You know, be able to say like, look, I don't have to explain that you might not have a Tropius to you. You might just be able to just run Jumpluff. And I know it wasn't the most popular community today, but Hoppips, people aren't lacking Hoppips. You can't get them at the minute, but people have them. People have hung on to them from the community day. Araquanid, not available. Hasn't been available for a little while. I mean, you probably have one. I don't know if you built one for Great League. They weren't the most popular thing to build for Great League when they were strong. I know I did a video running it, but it wasn't like you want to be good in Great League, you have to build an Araquanid. So you might not have one. And I think the last time they were widely available would have been, like I know I got Jupiters in GoFest in London last year, and I think that's the last time I probably saw them in any decent number spawning. So, but if you have them, very strong pick. Other alternatives, not that come to mind for Araquanid personally. Golisopod is probably the closest. In terms of typing, you know, that bug and water typing, but Golisopod just plays differently. It's strong, but it doesn't have the bulk, so you have pressure to shield on it. Shadow Claw damage is nice in a lot of matchups where Araquanid struggles, but the charge move coverage is different. But if I had to pick something else just to chuck into the team, like I haven't thought about this in advance, I'm just brainstorming now, I would say chuck Golisopod in instead of Araquanid. But I said, you've got to be prepared to give that thing shields because it needs shields. And at least Jellicent doesn't always need a shield. At least Tropius doesn't always need a shield. But yeah, so let me know what you think of the team. Let me know if you're going to be playing Master League in this next week or whether you're thinking of going into the Spring Cup. Like, I do have a surprise for it because I finally finished maxing out my 100% IV Meloetta. Like, my Meloetta from the GoFest a few years ago was perfect. Very, very lucky, I know. And every single Rare Candy XL I've had over the last couple of years has gone into that. Like, it's my only mythical that's above like level 40 because I don't use my Rare Candy XL on anything else. And it's finally maxed out, finally finished when it was grinding out the Dialga and Palkia raids over the Sinnoh Tour. Managed to rack up enough. It's finally finished. I want to show that off. I don't know if it's going to be that good in the current meta, but give it a go. We'll see. It's got a pretty good bulk to it. So yeah, I'll probably do at least one video in the Master League this week. So I'll catch you guys then.